Welcome to the Last Beer Show, episode 33, Sweet and Fatty. We chat about breweries that are diversifying their portfolio outside of beer. We do a bit of a mid-year check-in and talk about the best things we've had thus far in 2019. And then we ask the question, what's a beer dinner? We're glad you're here. Let's get into it. Katie says hello to you in April.
Hello, Katie.
That's what that was.
Is she on her way over?
No.
Why?
Because they're going to bed right now.
Oh, my God, 8:19.
Mm-hmm. They go to bed between 8 and 8:30 every night. And then...
Katie doesn't go to bed.
Yes, she
Violet
does.
goes to bed.
They both go to bed.
What?
Katie goes to bed at 8, 8:30 every night.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
How's that even possible?
What do you mean?
I don't even know how it's physically possible to go to bed this early, honestly.
Do you not love your pillow?
I love my pillow.
You're
but
thinking
I
about your
also
pillow
love,
right now, and you're like, you know what?
awake.
Actually, instead of doing this, I kind of wish I was there.
April and I are, we're going to work out in the morning, you know?
Good for you, man.
We're going to Orange Theory.
Crush it.
I'm on my third workout.
Good for you. Proud.
Thanks.
Go. I know it's a tough transition when you first get going.
It's incredibly tough.
I did it. I just did it a couple years ago.
Yeah, I feel
But the
feel
transition
better once I
in your
do.
life, though, like the mental health, like once you make it habitual and routine, it's a different game.
Yeah, it's fun too. It's an hour, so it goes over. It gets over.
Actually,
really
goes
quick.
pretty fast. Like
goes
when
really
you're in there, you're
fast.
like, what?
Have you done Orange Theory?
I've never been into one of that specific franchise, but
It's an hour of like treadmill, and then water rowing, and then also the weight bench stuff.
and they got like the scoring up on the wall and stuff. Like,
Yeah, so you can see how you're doing against it.
that might actually work for me because I am hyper
Yeah, me too.
competitive.
So like the last
competitive.
round, there were 34 people in our class, and towards the end of the class, there were like 15 minutes left. I was watching the scoreboard, and I was right around I was at the lead, and then this girl kept like nudging me, and I was like, oh heck nah. I just like put it into overdrive. I was done, and I just still stood there and like did squats. Even though I was done, I was like, this girl's not beating
I get
me.
it.
And then
Yeah.
I beat the class, and I
Yeah.
was like, yeah. And I was like, heck yeah. And I was wanting some recognition from the teacher, like, hey, congrats to Jason who just destroyed the class. And she didn't do it. And then I was like, so part of me was like, man, I was really pissed that she didn't recognize me as being the winner because I busted my ass to win. But then I was like, yeah, I'm kind of glad though, right? Because like it made everybody feel like a winner, and if I were at the bottom of that list, I would feel really shitty, being like, "Hey, congrats, you got 3 points, and he got 45 points."
Right.
Like, and the other thing is that because everyone's body is different, it's funny because the people who are like really buff and lean, they get very little points and they burn very little calories because they're already like sticks,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
but it's different. Percentage-wise, it's different. They're covering different
yeah,
ground.
it's different.
Yeah.
So at 275 pounds, I burn 1,000 calories, and the girl next to me is burning like 300, and she's like, "Fuck you!"
I can't burn 1,000 calories a day.
I
can't.
I just did it.
I would kill myself doing
The
that.
first time I worked out was 880, and then or 890, and then the second one was 1,000 calories, and I was like, I didn't even really feel it. Honestly, it just it happened. I wasn't even trying that hard. It just I was going with the class. But in relation to everybody else, again, because they're sticks. The girl next to me is running like 15 miles an hour. I'm at 3. I mean, our bodies are just different,
right?
And so there's not really a way to be like you're a winner because like she busted her ass just as much as I did.
So Orange Theory, everybody go. You got participation trophies all around.
Yeah, you don't get that, but you do get a good workout, and I do feel better. And
I believe
and I was
it.
like, yeah, boy, that means more beer, more beer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a gym near me. I was doing a gym when I was like little light. It wasn't like psycho CrossFit. It was more of like a family CrossFit type thing. And I was doing that. And I liked it a lot, but we moved further away, and it just seemed like a 30-minute drive to the gym and then like work out for an hour and a 30-minute drive home was like 2 hours. You have to get up like 3 in the morning to make that work, and that's just not okay. So Speaking of working out, what are you
work
curling?
out.
What are you curling?
So
Put that close to your mouth.
we're drinking.
Lift it up. You want it above your nose.
Yeah.
Here's a little podcast behind the scenes secret.
We're drinking.
If the microphone is above your nose and pointing down.
Yep.
When you exhale after you take a sip, you exhale air out of your nose. It won't pop in the microphone. Nobody will hear that wind go
Pop
by.
it like it's hot.
So if you listen to a beer podcast and you constantly hear like, that's their nose and the microphone's below their nose.
Yeah.
And it sounds like hell and nobody wants to hear it.
Who knows? So right now we're drinking some fresh other half DDH.
DDH
Mylar
Imperial,
bags.
Mylar bags.
Which
sounds good.
Is really
Tastes
tasty. And then getting ready to open up some. This is Juice Willis.
Damn fine.
Juice Willis from Wrecking Bar Brewpub, which is
I want some.
one of the best brew pubs in the country. And,
I like that beer a lot.
Here in the old ATL.
Like
So
that beer a
repping a
lot.
little New York City, a little Brooklyn, and a little ATL. And then
like we say, by hyper local.
yeah, we're gonna.
Speaking of which, that other half is contraband that got drugged down here in a bag by your wife.
Yeah, thanks to my wife.
She had a New York trip.
She's actually been to other half 3 times, and I've still never been.
You've never been.
So thank you to my wife who muled me tons of other half and some Jay Wakefield. And
That's nice.
A whole bunch, some Lawton Sip of Sunshine, which I do love on a day sunshiny or unsunshiny.
Very nice.
She picked me up some of that, which is widely available up in the New York City area.
Maybe later on you'll tell me which one of those are your favorites.
Yeah, I will. Maybe I will. Can't recommend enough City Swiggers in New York City, which is a great bottle shop up in New York City. City Swiggers, great knowledgeable staff, and they've got an amazing selection. They remind me of Chuck's Hop Shop in Seattle, which you and I both have been to.
Right. So if you're in the area,
if you're in that area,
stop in, say hi.
Check them out. Super friendly and helpful. They did not pay us.
They didn't pay us
to
for
say this, but they were incredibly helpful and
dropping names because we're nice.
Dropping bombs.
Because you want the information when you're traveling around. You're like, where do I go when I'm in this area?
So this is
what's happening.
This other half DDH Mylar bags,
which you crushed, by the way.
and we just I just finished it off. Is they're getting ready to celebrate Green City this week, and so good luck to those guys.
What's Green City?
Green City is their big IPA festival, and there will be breweries representing the country there. I know that I saw that. My boys over at Great Notion in Portland, Oregon will be there, and I imagine it'll be a veritable who's who of breweries getting together for other halves Green City. So if you're up in that area, drink it up.
I might have a Great Notion note for you later. Maybe.
Wait, did you bring some Great Notion?
I wish. I brought nothing.
Oh.
I brought all the gear.
Well, I'll take the gear, but I'll take Great Notion too.
I came straight from work.
Shout out to Polly at Great Notion. Kudos to Polly and the team at Great Notion. Keep doing amazing things. Shout out to Neil Engelman at Wrecking Bar Brewpub in Atlanta.
This Wrecking Bar label game is strong.
Yeah, they're great.
By the way,
it's a little news though. Neil Engelman, who's been the brewer at Wrecking Bar, is actually moving on to start a new brewery with John Roberts.
He's a quitter.
Who is kind of Atlanta beer loyalty, called the Bold Monk. So kudos to Neil Engelman on his new brewery position. Although kind of sad, Wrecking Bar is just crushing it right now.
I mean, when you have a local business that's doing really good work and you're like swinging by and checking it out, but change, doesn't necessarily mean it's bad.
Yeah, yep. This beer is incredibly delicious, though. The thing is, I know that those guys at Wrecking Bar aren't huge fans of doing things that are hype and popular. But man, they ripped this one out of the ballpark.
They've been making it for a while too.
Yep,
this is actually there for
I think this is the 6th
year
iteration
and a half. I think
each one is a different iteration with different hops, and so this one is the newest iteration, and it's again, it's mighty tasty.
So, we love sipping on these beers. They got a little bit of alcohol in them.
A little bit
Warms them up.
A little bit.
Makes for good times.
Yeah.
Loosens you up.
Yeah. So let me tell you about that girl.
I don't know about that, but
I don't have that much.
I wasn't sure where you were going with
I didn't have that much beer in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's talk for a minute, maybe several.
Yeah.
A lot of breweries. I know a couple episodes ago, we talked about Tremolo, the coffee being brewed at a local brewery in collaboration with a local roastery.
Yep, that's right.
Really, really fantastic product. I mean,
it
amazing,
really is.
right?
It's really good.
But there are a lot of other efforts going on as craft breweries diversify and try to draw crowds to their tasting rooms, or diversify their portfolio and have other offerings for people that are either blends or mixes, and we've talked about some of those, but also quite a few non-alcoholic ones. There are a lot of craft sodas.
Yep.
A lot of breweries make, like, say, a root beer or like a non-alcoholic gin and tonic flavored soda or something like that. Like, they do these things for people that want to socialize with their beer drinking friends at a tasting room or a bar, but don't partake in this particular beverage style, so they need options when they go, and that helps get diversity and groups and people into your tap room, right? So you were mentioning, when we were talking about this a moment ago, some of the other non-alcoholic beverages. You mentioned a couple of those. Go ahead and elaborate.
Yeah, so Hudson Valley announced today their new release, which I'm a huge fan of Hudson Valley. Their sour IPAs are they are really revolutionizing that category of sour IPA, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they are opening up a lot of people to sour IPAs that would have never drank it based on the concept of what the heck is a sour IPA. So Hudson Valley's just been crushing it in that, and that's their lane. And they do it very well. They released Woodwater today, which is a barrel-aged seltzer. Interesting. Non-alcoholic, highly carbonated. I think it's aged in wine barrels, red wine barrels.
So it's just a non-flavored seltzer water.
Yeah.
And they age it in some of their barrels.
That's right. And then they just carbonate it. And so it's fascinating. There was, of course, there was some fodder on social media. Can you believe these guys released a water? And, I actually don't think that it's a far out thing.
What's the big deal with releasing a water?
Well, I mean, it's a brewery and not releasing a beer. And what are they?
So are they arguing that it's not a release?
They're arguing that that they're kind of straying from their core thing. And the reality
is it not a craft beverage?
I think it's a craft beverage. I mean, I know that
they aged it in barrels.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it was probably spring water or something when they did that. They let it sit for a certain amount of time. They pulled it at a specific time when they thought it tasted a certain way, and then they carbonated, right?
Yeah, exactly. I know that Hop State Brewing, our buddy Ed Valenti in Florida, has been making a sort of an alcoholic water, I guess, an alcoholic seltzer.
Right. Hard seltzer. Those are trending right now like crazy.
But
I don't want to talk about those. You get those at every grocery store.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the big deal about those? Sam Adams catches a lot of crap for their cider brands and their hard seltzer brands.
Yeah. The reality is that, you may not always be able to drink a beer. You may not always want to drink a beer. You may be...
Some people may not like beer.
Yeah,
but they want to be with you because they like you.
It's definitely not the worst thing out there. I mean,
who cares?
And at the end of the day, who cares?
Are people going to get really pissed at LaCroix if they drop a beer?
This is the way that I feel. And I had a conversation with a very well-known local beer guy here in the Atlanta area last week. He and I met over some beers, and there was talk around these 8-state fruited sours being just alcoholic high C, which is fine. But at the end of the day, if you are buying this from a brewery who employs people and that allows them to brew more beer, and I'm all for it. I mean, as long as it's not garbage. It doesn't matter to me if it's an IPA, if it's a stout, if it's a fruited sour. I don't give a crap.
They're a manufacturing facility. They can make whatever they want.
Exactly.
I don't care.
So I don't really care. I just, at the end of the day, that brewery made money. And as long as it's done with, high quality
as long as it gets you more pastry stouts, you're happy.
Exactly. Fruited sours.
All
about them.
There's another one, a CBD Water.
Yeah, so an Atlanta brewery called Second Self Brewing has actually launched a new CBD water called Cirrus, and it's available.
They can't be the only ones.
It's the only one available in our state.
Area, but around the country. I'm betting Denver.
I'm sure there are plenty of these outside of there.
Hemp seltzers.
This is such a relatively new area, really. The whole issue of CBD and all of this stuff, hemp, is such a kind of new
cannabis
thing to a lot of people.
Yeah.
That a lot of states have not even taken a look at this yet. I know that there was some pause even from Second Self on the CBD water because there was no regulation around it.
Well, they're in Georgia. They could get rated for even coming close.
Yeah.
Right? This is in California or Colorado.
Exactly. So, but CBD water, they're trying to reach a completely different kind of niche. And then you could take it as far as like the new Belgium Emperor or the Sweetwater G20 strain, which are, for all intents and purposes, those beers are liquid weed.
They smell like it.
If you open up a bottle or can of New Belgium Emperor or bottle, it smells like weed. It is weed in liquid form. Now,
it doesn't have THC.
It doesn't have THC.
They can't cross state lines.
But it is absolutely every bit of weed minus the THC.
Like a hemp oil or some kind of oil extract they put in it.
I guess.
Scientifically remove the THC and then...
Yep. So I think what you're seeing a lot of differentiation in the market and kind of spreading out into some different directions that are just outside of even the hazy IPA
toying
category.
with things to find different flavors.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Trying to reach different people where they're at.
Talking about that Hudson Valley, the Woodwater, they've got barrels.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They probably buy barrels. They may at times have more barrels than they have recipes ready to roll into.
Yep.
And maybe other times they have barrel shortages. But certainly if you've got something sitting around like that you spent hundreds of dollars on each, like put something in it.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, it might as well.
I imagine if you use it for water, you could still use it for beer later.
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah, good on them. Good for them.
I'll tell you what, you send one over to me, I'm going to try it.
Yeah, I'll let you try it.
I would try it. I ain't even scared.
We should have Jason Santamaria on the show talking about this CBD water now that I think about it. Because I'm curious about it. It's a brand new... it's a brand new cottage sort of niche thing, and
just name drop.
We should do that. So
email drop.
We'll put that on the old agenda. So, what else you got?
I was thinking a little birdie put a bug in my ear to talk about mid-year check-in.
Yeah.
Maybe list out our 5 favorite beers we've tried this year.
5 favorite beers. All right.
This is you start at 5, and we'll trade off.
All right.
And we'll get to number 1, and
we'll
find out who's crazier.
All right. I will not be crazier. All right.
Whatever.
You're going to go first?
Yeah, you're going to hate my first one.
I'm not going to hate any of them. It's going to be Roush beer, smoked, double smoked.
Which you would hate, but it is not a Roush beer. I can't put... Most of the Roush beers I drink are annual and evergreen. Like you can get them at most of the Yuga bottle shops any time of year.
Yeah.
So I can't say in the last 6 months, that's the best beer I've had. I probably drink too many and try too many new ones. How about that?
Okay.
But I'm going to put a barley wine... Told you you'd hate it.
Barley wine.
A barley wine called A Vulgar Display of Barley. Collaboration between a local brew pub heroes, Twain's, and my favorite bottle shop, Ale Yeah. I'm here to tell you that thing was delicious. It tasted like a a Roquefort 8 or a St. Bernardus Ave 12 that had been aged for 5 or 6 years, just cellared. Like, it was delicious and rich and deep in stone and dark fruits and sweet and everything it should have. It hit the point.
Barley wine is life.
It was delicious.
So while I do this, I actually just poured this. This is Evil Twin, and this is Evil Twin and Horace's collaboration called Even More Grasp. Just so
Even More Grasp.
Even More Grasp. If you know about Horace, their logo is sort of this eagle, and that's the Even More Grasp. This is an Imperial Stout brew with Ethiopian geisha coffee and roasted hazelnuts. Roasted hazelnuts is kind of what Horace is known for, what they do. And so this is a collab between Evil Twin and Horace called Even More Grasp.
That whole Jesus series, the Even More Jesus, the Donut Jesus, the extra double
Personal
Jesus, like that is a really good series.
Yeah.
At Evil Twin,
I agree.
Absolutely crushes. I mean, a couple of them have been a little too sweet, but for the most part, they're delicious.
Yeah, I just showed Wayne the old price tag on this can.
Wow,
$10.99 for this 16-ounce can.
You can get a 6-pack for that.
$10.99 for this
good,
can.
Though. I mean, that shop may label up
this
a little
is
bit.
$21.98 per quart. It says. All right, my number 5 is actually a beer that I had today. And it quickly
it's
moved
too recent
up.
in your memory.
It is.
I don't know.
I took a couple of tastes of it, and I was like, man, that is up there. So that is Other Half's DDH Vapor Rings IPA. Had it today. Again, it was perfectly balanced, perfectly rounded out, perfect balance of hops and bitterness and all of those sorts of things, which I love. And man, I really freaking love that IPA. So that's
wow.
And I will tell you in advance that is the only IPA.
Is it the only IPA?
Yep.
Let me look.
I've had some good ones.
I don't
too.
have a single IPA.
That doesn't shock me at all.
So much for being a hophead.
Yeah, exactly. Womp, womp, womp.
Wow, hophead fail.
All right. So what's your number 4?
Number 4, it shouldn't shock you or anyone that it's on the list, but Hunahpu's Imperial Stout from Cigar City.
Okay.
This year.
Okay.
Was really good.
Okay. I got a bottle over there on the shelf I haven't opened yet.
I thought it was better than last year's, but it's good.
I have heard that.
I don't know that either were as good as the couple years prior when it was really fire, but
I have heard that this year is better than the last couple of years.
But time is
on our side. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's the great warping.
Yep.
So who knows really what if they were really that good. But I loved it. I thought it really stood out. It wasn't too sweet. It was rich. It was heated. It's good.
My 4th place is actually a triple fruited sour from 8th State, and that is Apperetianed. So you don't know what Apparition is. Apparition is one of their triple fruited sours that is... this one's actually made with... blackcurrant, raspberry, cherry, and tangerine. And man, it is some kind of something. Currently rated 4.58 on Untapped, and this thing is just a straight juice bomb. So
it sounds juicy.
It's super, super thick and juicy. This Even More Grasp is something special, isn't it?
Oh, what we're getting into right now?
Yeah, what we're drinking right now.
Yeah,
this Even More Grasp is
delicious.
Super hazelnut coffee-ish. This is really stinking good.
It's really good.
I would, these are Horace is one of the darlings of craft beer right now. They're definitely some of the most desirable on the secondary market, and so
it's super low carbonated.
It is
almost flat,
and there's a reason for that because this
a lot of coffee.
No, this can was punctured in the April suitcase somehow.
It was dropped.
And so it actually, April, of all the things, April actually wrapped this in some white pants, and she pulled it out, and she was like, "Oh no!"
Sick.
And so I just put it in the fridge, and so that's why it's flat. It's still good though.
Chocolate stout wrapped in white pants gets punctured, and then you serve it to me, passing it off as
freaking delicious,
serviceable, even though you're
it's
serving
totally
me a flat
serviceable.
beer.
I paid $11 for this beer. I'm not dumping it.
You're
it's still freaking delicious though.
It is good. Crazy that it's still good even without any carbonation in it.
It's still good though. I mean, it's a flat stout. It's freaking delicious though. So anyway, my number 4 is 8th State Brewing's Apparition. Kudos to those guys. What about you?
8th State?
8th State out of Greenville, South Carolina. Ooh. I hate this because my last 3, I just looked at the list. They're all pastry stouts.
Oh yeah, no, that's your jam.
Ah, man,
that's right in your wheelhouse.
So predictable.
That those are there makes perfect sense. It's actually the polar opposite. That there are no IPAs in my top 5 thus far this year.
There you go.
Although one was close, but no, I had to bail on it.
Let's see what you got.
At 3, I've got the Bagpipe Warrior Scotch Ale from Cherry Street Brewing.
Okay,
it is a double Scotch ale type thing, and it's aged in Scotch barrels. It's super rich and peaty and delicious. You hate Rausch beer.
I hate Rausch beer and Scotch
because it's so smoky. And I like Scotch, but I do like this beer. They went out of their way to double down on its core, and it is absolutely freaking delicious.
Yeah. Awesome. My number 3 is actually Fieldwork's Danger Cake. Danger Cake is a blend of Imperial milk stouts that have been aged in Widow Jane bourbon barrels and then blended with a whole bunch of stuff like coconut, peanuts, cocoa nibs, nutmeg, Madagascar vanilla beans, and honey. And man, it is a sticky, sweet, fudgy.
The entire baking aisle to grocery store got in that thing.
It literally is cake, liquid cake, and it is delicious.
That's why they call it Danger Cake.
Exactly. Danger Cake, 11.1%, so it's not incredibly dangerous.
I've never had
that. We had it at my share last weekend.
Yeah, I couldn't make that.
And, man, it was good. But I'm going to tell you, Fieldwork out in Berkeley, California, they're absolutely killing it and crushing it, too. It seems like everything I've had from Fieldwork has been just a banger.
Wow.
All right.
Quite a statement.
I
struggled at number 2, so I'm cheating here. Technically, I'm inserting 6 beers because I've got a tie.
Oh.
But the beers are almost the same exact thing.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that I get off on a technicality because the liquid is very, very close. It would be the Double Stack from Great Notion and the Morning Smack from 3 Taverns Brewing. Both very similar beers, very delicious. Just maple breakfast pancake tasting coffee.
Interesting, but it did make me wish that I had another spot, which I don't have.
Oh!
But my number.
I'll give you a bonus.
I'll take a bonus. My number 2 is 8th State's Rich AF. Rich AF.
That one's good.
Is fudgy. It is the most fudgy, thick, just absolutely decadent stout I've had in a long time. And this is made with caviar, Madagascar vanilla, cocoa nibs, and cocoa husks.
Yeah, I didn't come back for that one.
And holy
it was good?
Smokes, it is. I've had 2 bottles now. And
you've had 2 bottles?
And they're small bottles.
Yeah.
And man,
but they're not easy to come by, and they're super expensive.
They are. But I was at the release, so I paid cost for them. And man, they are worth every penny of whatever they're going for on the secondary market. That the 8th State is. I know that I included Apparition in my top 5, but man, 8th State is absolutely killing it.
I'm gonna have to put you in the fanboy column.
I'm a fanboy. I'm an 8th State fanboy. Call it right here. All right. What about number 1?
Number 1 for me, the best beer I've had thus far in 2019 was by far the best beer I've had in 2019. It's not even close. Like There's no real number 2. We could have skipped number 2 and said 3 through 6.
Sam Adams New England IPA.
No. I mean, look, it's a solid beverage.
It is a solid beer, actually.
Actually,
It is. It is a good beer.
You could do worse.
I mean, I'm surprised they did it, but I'm glad.
Undrafted Applebee's is probably your best choice by far. Right?
Yeah.
So,
what you got?
The Urban Funk House from the Brewers Collective. They're out in Fort Worth, Texas. That farmhouse ale was so good. So tart, super acidic, rich, flavorful. I mean, just they got that exactly right. It was delicious.
Yeah.
I sat there and I think I swirled it in the glass and just looked at it.
Was it Farmhouse AF?
It was like feet.
Man, it sounds
like
delicious.
A good wild ale is. Like when a wild ale is right and you're like, whoa, it tastes great, but it also tastes like there's something wrong. Then you know that's really good. Like I know we talk a lot of smack socially as a beer community about the breweries that are known for doing wild ales really well.
Yeah, like
right?
Jester King.
Jester King and
American Solera.
Oh my gosh,
Cigar.
Yeah, this was on par with all of that.
Oh, that's pretty,
and it was really
big.
amazing. I had a blast.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
With it.
Good.
Number 1.
Number 1, and this is not
Drum
including
roll,
my bonus, but number 1 would have to be
8th State.
Bottle Logic Paisley Cave Complex, which is a collab between Bottle Logic and Great Notion. It includes 2 of my favorite in my mind. It is a blend of 2 of my favorite beers, which is why one of my bonus beer would be Great Notion's Blueberry Muffin.
Oh, Blueberry Muffin is so good.
So, Bottle Logic's Paisley Cave Complex is like a blend of Blueberry Muffin and Fundamental Observation, which is Blueberry Vanilla Bomb. And man, it is right in my wheelhouse. And so I've actually had the pleasure of drinking 2 bottles of that so far this year, and I'm sitting on another bottle that I'm going to open when I celebrate here soon. And so, man,
save it for a special
that Paisley
occasion.
Cave Complex is something special. If you like blueberry, if you don't like blueberry, you will absolutely hate that beer. But
how do you not like blueberry?
If you don't like blueberry, you definitely wouldn't like my bonus pick, which is Great Notion's Blueberry Muffin, because it tastes just like a blueberry muffin.
I never even heard of that.
It happens.
Not liking blueberry stuff?
It happens.
Is that a thing?
It happens. It is a thing.
What?
It is a thing. So, yeah, definitely.
I don't know.
That's my top 5 with a bonus round.
I'm gonna have
Great
to look
Notion,
that up on the internet.
Blueberry Muffin.
I don't believe there's anybody that doesn't like blueberry.
It happens.
I'm not buying it.
It happens. So, yeah.
I'm not buying it.
Yep.
So
that's our top 5.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Congratulations to you. We have clearly drank some really good beers already.
Yeah, it's an embarrassment of riches, really, when you think about it.
Yep.
And good. I mean, we talk about celebrating the category, and we talk about finding a diverse variety of beers that represent different styles inside of the category, right?
Right.
And then it shows that we're acting on it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like if we were like, what I had was Sam Adams mixed 12 pack. Like that's really cool, and those are really great beers. But I wouldn't say you're like digging deep into, anything that would be rare or diverse. Now, don't get me wrong. I crushed my share of Sam Adams. I am the king of filler beer. The first couple got to be good.
Yep.
Then work in some filler beers.
But what I would say
maybe close the night out with a good bottle.
What I would say is it shows the diversity between you and I, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
So
except I picked a bunch of stouts and you picked a bunch of stouts. But other than that, it's total
you didn't pick
diversity.
up a bunch of stouts, or did you?
Well, I have a wild ale and a Scotch ale.
See?
I have 3 stouts and a barley wine.
And a barley wine.
Yeah,
exactly.
and you have two pale ales. 1 pale ale and 4 stouts.
Yeah.
And a blend of a stout and a beverage fruited
Exactly.
Blueberry muffin
triple
flavored.
fruited.
What is a
sour.
blueberry muffin flavored beer anyway?
Oh my God, it's heaven is what it is.
Yeah,
it's
that's probably,
absolutely heaven.
That's probably accurate. That's probably accurate.
It is everything that I want to be in life. Is that triple?
Is a blueberry
sour.
Muffin?
A blueberry muffin for sure. I
Like
actually
Oompa Loompa?
I would bathe in blueberry muffin if I could. Unfortunately, I can't. I was never convinced Polly to send me that much.
Oh, when they're good, they're right. No joke.
Nope,
no
they
joke,
are.
a good
They are.
muffin.
They certainly are. You're right.
So I had one last thing we could cover, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it's deep enough or worth much of it. But
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Well, I saw a funny tweet go by. Someone mentioned beer dinners.
Okay.
And I think this individual was... I think that they were confused, but based on the number of comments, it kind of turned... I mean, it got 100-some comments and retweets, which is quite a bit.
That's a lot, yeah.
So it wasn't like, do you wash your legs, or is the dress red, blue or gold or whatever it was, right? This was like... I've been to a few beer dinners, and I can't taste beer in any of the food. And named a few different types of beer or common beer pairings like stout muffins and brownies, or, IPA marinated chicken and stuff like that. It's like, I instantly kind of like, how when you talk to your dog and they just kind of turn their head and look at you?
All the time.
Like I totally don't understand what you're saying. I was looking at that tweet that way, kind of like, wait, I thought a beer dinner was a pairing of food and beverages. I never thought of it as maybe being an ingredient in the food that's been prepared, because I don't know that he's wrong. I don't think I've ever tasted very many recipes that have beer in them and said, well, the beer's too strong, except for maybe a couple of ice creams. So it's like, okay, I guess I get where he's coming from. But the more I saw how long the thread got, I thought maybe he was really kidding and just like, do you wash your legs? Like totally just looking for trolls or trying to get people to kind of fire off just to see what would happen. But I think he's just kind of confused at the end of the day.
It's funny that you say that, because a friend of mine posted this today. Dogfish Head 120-minute pecan sticky buns. And I'm assuming this is
sign me up.
These are pecan sticky buns made with Dogfish Head 120 minutes.
That is an extraordinarily strong beer.
It's a ridiculously strong beer. It's liquor. And so there are definitely dinners where the things are made with the beer, and then there are dinners where the beers are paired with things. I've done a lot of those myself.
Which one is a beer dinner?
Both.
What?
Yeah, both.
Oh, you mailed it in.
I'm sorry. They're both. It's got to be both. Now, when somebody says a beer dinner, I'm automatically going to think it is a pairing dinner.
Ding, ding, ding.
But I would have to say that if you, like April makes ice cream with Mexican cake from Westbrook.
Right.
And we have actually talked about doing a dinner where all of the dishes are made with Mexican cake somehow. That would be a beer dinner as well, although slightly different in that idea.
Yes, and you have to be a pretty darn good cook to work chocolate into a savory entree.
Yeah. Have you ever had a mole sauce?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever had
So you're just going to mail it in and go with one thing?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going to do.
Man.
That's all I got.
So that was my question. I was wondering, how big is what's a beer dinner?
Yep.
Clearly, like I said, it's not as big as I initially thought.
Exactly. You would be correct. But I can say that, that technically speaking, a dinner using foods that are made with beers would also be a beer dinner.
No. It's a food dinner.
It's a beer dinner, though, because... Hey,
but you wouldn't eat... You don't have... Everything is made with apples... And you have apple pie, and you got some sort of apple marinated savory dish.
An apple dinner.
Got no one would call that an apple dinner.
I would.
No, you wouldn't.
I would. But here's the thing: if you had a dinner where all of the things were made with beer, do you not think you would also drink beers with that? I would.
Maybe.
I mean, I definitely would. I might even drink the beers that it's made with it.
So if you have cider Is it a cider dinner?
No, I never heard of a cider dinner. But I mean, cider is different than beer.
That's what I'm saying.
But there are wine dinners. Well, I mean, people don't really make food items with wine, though.
Make food with wine? Is this? I mean, you can make some savory dishes with it. I know some people, like, you can marinate a roast with it.
Maybe.
It's good. Duck, goose. You can marinate duck and goose with it.
Okay.
Well, they're so sweet and fatty. It's kind of nice to have all that acidic and, astringent.
Sweet and fatty. That's what April calls me. Sweet and fatty.
Okay, and that cues the end of the program.
And that's a...
This got really personal here at the end. All right, so anyway.
Meaty.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate you as always, buddy.
Thanks for drinking these delicious beers with me.
I try to help where I can.
Next week, we're going to have a special guest.
Are we?
We are having a special guest, and we're going to talk about...
This is news to me.
The culture of... And so that we don't get any blowback or feedback from it. Instagram women who...
Are we going back to that? Are we revisiting that episode?
Yeah, with our guest is actually
Who's the guest?
A couple of females.
Don't worry, it's 40 minutes in, nobody's listening.
And so a couple of females, and we're going to actually talk about
a couple of females,
a couple of
women,
exactly.
Yes,
who are going to talk about what their thoughts are on this trend in craft beer. I didn't say the name.
You're not going to say the name of
the
episode?
Say the name. Women who share their bosoms with craft beer photos for attention.
Like craft beer models.
Sort of, yeah. Craft beer model influencer women.
Okay.
Who share their boobs.
Are they popular?
To some.
Do they do the photos, or do they just consume the photos?
They do not. The women
that
are talking do not do the photos.
They don't do the photos. So
we
don't have that
photos.
perspective.
They don't have that perspective.
We're gonna have outsider perspective.
I don't know that we have any of those sort of folks in our area.
We need an insider perspective too.
I don't know that we have any of those.
We need an insider
area.
and an outsider.
Do you know any of these people?
I don't know any people.
Okay, I don't either.
I'm sitting here at a dining room table with you talking into a microphone about beer.
Yeah.
How many people do you think I know?
I don't know.
You could probably count them on your hands.
Enough? All right, so next week will be a fun one.
That's going to be fun.
I'm excited to talk about that because I'm excited to get some different
I want some other opinions on it. I want some clarity. I have questions, and I demand answers.
Let's give them something to talk about. Let's give them something
No, I knew you were going to do that. Damn it.
Yes.
All right, brother. I will see you later.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at The Last Beer Show. You can email us sip@lastbeershow.com. If there's anything you want us to touch on and discuss, we would be happy to. Go to the iTunes store, leave us a review or a rating. We would be eternally grateful. And thank you very much.